Hello. Okay. So sorry about not being able to record during the actual workshop. So here I'll record on my own time. But yeah, let's get started with workshop number 5. Here are the slides. So we'll be making this hammer, and the first thing we'll do is we'll create a sketch, and then we'll put it on the XY plane, and then we'll create a 25 millimeter long circle. So then to do that, here, do 5, and then after that we can do finish sketch. Afterwards we can do extrude, and then we're gonna set it to 15 millimeters, and then we're going to create a offset plane. So an offset plane is basically a plane, but away from a face at a certain distance. So in this case, we want to click here, and we'll click offset plane, and then we'll click on this back circle profile, and then we'll extend it by 10 millimeters. Click enter. And then afterwards, we want to draw on this plane. So we'll do create sketch and then click on this plane. This will redirect our viewing point so that we're drawing on this plane. So now if I zoom in, we're going to use create and a rectangle to create a center rectangle. And then clicking on the sketch origin, we can stretch this out. We just click enter, and then we're gonna actually relabel these. So this will be 15 millimeters long, and then also I want this to be a square. So I'm gonna make this edge and this bottom edge equal. So now it's all constrained, and now we can do finish sketch. And afterwards, we're gonna use this new tool called a loft. So what a loft does is it allows us to sort of merge two profiles together into like this one surface. It's really useful when you're trying to like combine these different surfaces into like one object smoothly instead of having like this weird riggedness. So we can go to create loft, and then the first profile I'll click is the first profile I'll click is the circle, and then the second profile I'll click is the square. And oh, we do not need rails. So then now, over here, we have this circle merging into this square, and we don't need to worry about the rails right now. Just know that if you did want to change these edges, you can shift these about. Ooh, whoops. Don't need these. Center. Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah, let's just not worry about that right now. But regardless, you can merge two profiles into this one cool surface. So click OK. And now what we want to do is extrude this square edge. So we click extrude, and then we'll do it by 15 millimeters, and we're okay. Whoops. And we're okay. So now what we want to do is we want to create another offset plane. This is so that when we're working on the hammer, we can work on this back face right here and then create a loft. So going back, we're gonna do offset plane, click on the back, set the distance to 50 millimeters, click enter. So now we have this plane back here. And the next what we want to do is we want to draw on this sketch, or we want to draw on this plane. So we're going to click create sketch, click on the plane, and the way it's oriented right now, I want to look at it from the back. So I'm actually going to rotate this so that it goes to the back, like so. And then I want to create a construction line because this 10 millimeter long line here is it's not going to be used for any extrusions. So I'm going to do this, click L, okay, make it 10, click enter. And then now this rectangle profile, I want this to be part of an extrusion, or I want this to be part of a loft. So if you're going to use it for a feature, you can't have the construction option on. So we're going to turn it off. And then we're going to create a center rectangle. Click over here. And then now we're going to set the distance. We're going to set the height to 5. and the width to 25. Click enter. And then now we can just do finish sketch. And then now we're going to create another sketch. So to do this, we're going to do create sketch. And then we're going to do it on the YZ plane so that it cuts the hammer in half. So click here. Then next what we're going to do is we're going to turn on 3D sketch. The reason why we're turning on 3D sketch is because we want to be able to like use these edges. However, if I did try to draw right now, I can show as a demonstration, it doesn't really line up because it doesn't really know that it's there. So what we're going to do is we're going to click 3D sketch, and then we're going to use the conic curve, and then I'm going to try to line this up so that it hits the midpoint over here, so it will have like an X. And then next I'll do it on this rectangle up here on the top edge. And then now this part is making a curve, so to make the curve right, I'm gonna go back to a correct viewpoint, and then I'm gonna place it roughly around here. There's not really a certain place you have to put this on. As long as it just makes the general hammer shape, you're all good. And then now we can change the row value. What this does, it changes like the sharpness of this curve. So if I make it 99, it's like almost just 2 lines, whereas if I make it like 1 or 0, it's like almost a straight line. I'm gonna bring it back to 75, click enter, and then now we don't need this 3D sketch anymore, so I'm just gonna turn it off, and we can do finish sketch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a loft. So we click create and then loft. And then for the profiles, I'm going to click on these this square and this rectangle. And right now you can see that it's just the loft it's trying to make, it's just directly a straight line. We don't necessarily want that. We want this to follow this curve shape. So we're going to use this rail, and the rail allows us to kind of like guide the loft in a certain direction. So do rail, and then we'll click on the curve, and now it kind of curves around and it makes like this ideal hammer shape. So we can click OK. And now what we're going to create is I believe this is the, oh wait, no, I remember. So right now we have this hammer shape, but we don't have like the U part up here. So we're gonna create a curve and then cut it out, or carve it out, I guess you would say. So first what we're gonna do is do construct offset plane, click on this this bottom square right here, or sorry, not the bottom square. What am I saying? It should be the XY plane or XZ plane. So it should be this one here. And then we're gonna set it down to 20 millimeters. Yep. And then next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch. And I'm gonna rotate my viewpoint. And now what we want to do is we want to, so if you look carefully, you can see the head is floating on top of the sketch. But that also means we can't interact with any of the edges because they're not intersecting. So what we can do is we can go to create and then project. And then what this allows us to do is that it allows us to project these edges onto our sketch plane. So for here, I want to project this this line and also this line. And then I can click OK. So then now, if you look at the sketch, we have these 2 lines, and they perfectly match up with the hammer ones over here. So it makes it really convenient. So right now we don't really need the body for drawing, so I'm going to turn it off. And then going back to top view, we're going to be creating the curve shape. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to create 2 lines. We're going to create 2 lines from the endpoint of these. Oops. Just for a reference. Okay. Going back, these are reference lines, so I'm gonna do construction on. At the endpoint, I want this to be 5 millimeters long, and then I'm going to create another line and set the equals constraint so that if I ever want to go back and change my settings, I only have to change this value. Then next, I'm going to do create an iconic curve. Click on these two inner points, and then I'm going to drag my cursor all the way to the center of this other edge. We can leave this value as is, and click enter. And as you can see, I forgot to turn off the construction option over here. So what I can do is click it and then turn it off by clicking here. So now we have this this kind of like triangle curved U thing. So then we can do finish sketch, turn back on our bodies, and now what we can do is we can create a extrusion cut. So we can do extrude. We can drag this up a little bit, and then we can change the extent to all. So now it perfectly cuts all of this. So now I can click OK, and now we have like that that U part for like nails. So now what we want to do is create the handle. So first I'm gonna do sketch, or sorry, not sketch. I'm gonna do offset plane. Click on the bottom here and set the distance to 5 millimeters. And then afterwards, I'm gonna create a sketch on here. So I'm gonna do create sketch. Click on the plane, and then I'm gonna draw a 15 millimeter wide circle. So click the center diameter circle here. Click the sketch origin, and then change it to 15. Click enter, and then finish sketch. And then now what I want to do is create another loft. So I go to create, and then loft. I can click on this square and this circle right here, and then I can click OK. And then now what I want to do is create the handle piece, or not the handle piece, but kind of like the bar. So I'll click extrude, click the circle, and then set the distance to 80. So then now what I'm going to do is I want to reference this circle, or specifically the diameter of it. So first I'm going to do create sketch, click on this YZ plane, and then now I'm going to orbit a bit and do create project, and then click on the circle, and then I'll click OK. So now we have the diameter line here. Go back to the right viewpoint. And then now what we want to do is we want to create two lines. So the first line we'll be creating is this 100 millimeter long line. This will be our path. So this will tell us how long our feature is going to be. So in this case, we want it to be 100 millimeters long. The second part is going to be like a guide rail, and this is just gonna help us create like a curved surface. So we're just gonna create 3 bumps. They don't have to be exact, and they don't have to be exactly 100 millimeters long either. I'm gonna move this around. It's okay if it's a little bit longer. It doesn't really matter because it's gonna cut off right here anyways. So I think this is good. So I'll do finish sketch. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to use the sweep tool. So what the sweep tool does is if I go and hover it, you can see that there's like a circular profile, and it just follows the path given. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to use sweep. Our profile is going to be the circle, and if I just chose the path as like the straight line, it's pretty much the same as an extrusion. That's what extrusion is basically. It only follows a linear line. But since I want this to kind of like copy this shape too, I can change this path, or I can change this type to a path plus a guide rail. So now if I click on the curved surface for the guide rail, it creates this like this wavy like grip texture. And if you look carefully at the bottom, you can see that it kind of cuts right here, even though the spline ends a bit further down. So that's because of the path. But anyways, yeah, so now since we have this grip, we can click OK, and and then yeah, there you go. So now we have our hammer, and yeah, so I hope you learned about how to use lofts and sweeps, and we'll see you next week.